if you're one of the millions of Americans who work in low-end retail, you already know most of the jobs in that realm offer minimal benefits, the schedules are unforgiving, and making ends meet is a struggle. But it doesn't have to be that way.
That is the central argument in the new book, The Good Jobs Strategy, which makes the case that retailers would actually boost their bottom line if they paid higher wages.
Author Zainab Tan joins us to explain the theory. She teaches at the MIT Sloan School of Management. Welcome to Greater Boston.
Thank you.
So tell us what the life is, the circumstances are for the average retail worker in America. And we're talking some of the big box stores, Best Buy, Walmart. What conditions are they facing?
The first thing is they have very low wages, oftentimes not enough to make a living.
Just above minimum wage?
Just above minimum wage. But they also have very unpredictable schedules, work schedules, that makes it almost impossible for them to hold on to a second job. But it's not just low wages and bad schedules. These employees are also set up to fail. I've talked to a lot of workers who don't have the right equipment, the right resources, the right training, or even the right amount of time to be able to do a good job. And they often feel like what they do doesn't matter.
In your book, it's a simple premise, but it's obviously a complicated answer. But basically, if they were to do a better job, feel better about themselves, and perform better, then business would be better. So what's the short answer about how that works?
So I'll give you the short answer about how the good job strategy works, because when I looked at companies that were offering good jobs to their employees, low prices to their customers, and great performance to their investors, I found that they were making some very similar operational choices. For example, all of these companies offered less to their customers. If you go to my local supermarket, you're going to see 110 different types of jams. If you go to my local Trader Joe's store, you're going to see 13 types of jams. Now think about how much easier it will be for the employee to be familiar with 13 types so that they can help the customer better. Think about how much faster they would work, how much more accurately they would work, and think about how much waste would be reduced. So in my book, I talk about choices like this that really transform the investment in people into high performance.
And then did you find that customers will gravitate to retail settings in which employees are happier and better trained and more efficient? That's rewarded with more business?
Absolutely. When employees do a good job, then they offer much better customer service, so sales increase. And when sales increase, companies can afford to invest more in their employees. So there's a virtuous cycle that these companies operate under.
I mean, you have a concept here which a lot of people deny, and you point out that Walmart will say this is not a truthful argument, but you say if you pay employees more, revenue increases. They look at it and say, well, if we're paying employees more, that's less revenue that we're going to have, so that's a fallacious argument. Why isn't that true?
Right. Just to make sure, I'm not saying that if you pay more, you'll automatically make more money. So I'm making that if you pay your people more and make all these other choices, that combination will generate a lot more.
We should probably give you a chance just to flesh out the argument. So higher pay for workers, a limited range of products offered, correctly?
So one is heavy investment in people, which includes higher pay and more training, etc. The other is a set of operational choices. So one choice is offer less to customers. The other is to use a combination of standardization and empowerment in designing work. The third is to cross-train employees. And the fourth is to operate with Slack. So it's these choices that allow companies to follow the good job strategy.
In layperson's terms, what does standardization and empowerment mean? I mean, I have a sense of standardization,
yes.
but...
So think about the jobs at a retail store, shelving merchandise, processing customers at checkout. There are some things that are done routinely in a very predictable manner. So these companies standardize those tasks. They make sure that employees do it in the same way. But on the other hand, they give their employees opportunities to improve those standards, and they also empower them to make decisions for customers.
So it's not just a top-down mandate, but they help to shape the process. Okay.
Absolutely. And operate with Slack, another one. For example, at any service setting, workload is uncertain. You never know how many customers will come. You never know what they will want. So given that workload is uncertain, you can either err on the side of having too few people, or you could err on the side of having too many people. When I studied companies that follow what I call the bad job strategy, they are on the side of having too few people. But the companies that offer the good job strategy are on the side of having too many people. That way, employees do their tasks accurately, and they can better help customers, and they can reduce costs by involving in continuous improvement.
You know, because we all know those frustrating experiences of walking into a store, especially the big box stores, and not being able to find somebody to help you. But you settle on a few companies, actually four specifically, who are doing it well, and who are they?
Yeah, so my model retailers are Mercadona, Spain's largest supermarket chain, Quick Trip, a Tulsa, Oklahoma-based convenience store chain, Trader Joe's, and Costco. Those are the two well-known retailers.
And you said In-N-Out Burger is also a great example of how they're doing this well. We don't have it here on the East Coast, unfortunately, but what do they do right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the questions I get asked is, does this theory work outside, or does this strategy work outside retail? And In-N-Out is one of the examples that I give that shows that how, you know, by offering fewer products, if you go to an In-N-Out Burger, you'll have very few choices. And that allows them to operate in this good job strategy.
So why are so few companies operating the way you think it's prudent to operate? I saw one interview you did in which you just said it's conventional wisdom. Is that all that it is? Calcified conventional wisdom?
Yeah, I mean, the conventional wisdom is if you want to make money, then especially while you're offering low prices, the best way and perhaps the only way to do that is to pay your employees as little as possible and treat them just as a cost to be minimized. That's the conventional wisdom. And it's absolutely not correct. And the other thing is, good job strategy, following the good job strategy is hard. Think about exercising. We all know exercising is good for us, right? But it's hard work, it requires discipline, it requires commitment, and it requires a long-term perspective. Good job strategy is just like that. It requires a long-term perspective, commitment, hard work. Achieving excellence is always harder than achieving mediocrity.
One more question for you. What kind of response do you get when you make your case to, say, the people who run these sorts of companies? How do they react?
So my book came out 2 weeks ago, and I just started promoting it. So I haven't talked to a ton of people, but so far I have been receiving great feedback.
All right, good. Well, Zeynep, Tom, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.